Hey guys, for this video, we're going to be taking my client who's super brassy and we're going to be toning her down to a nice ashy blonde. And guess what? We didn't have to use any bleach for this service. If you guys want to see everything first before it hits YouTube, then you can follow me on Instagram at Christy@thecottage. Here's my client. You can see how brassy her hair is, and today we're just going to be toning her down. Instead of doing any highlights, we're going to tone her down for fall.
First of all, I need to start this video off with telling you guys that there was a spider in the retail area, and I am afraid of spiders. And so like everywhere I walk now, I'm afraid that it like little dots on the ground or something. Like I'm paranoid it's a spider. I'm afraid it's gonna come and get me. I don't know how I'm gonna work today, knowing that there's a spider in the retail section. Nobody's buying product today. I'm not gonna help you. Just know that, okay? Because I'm not going over there. Okay, so now for today's color. So my client came in and we normally do like a lot of blonding, but because it's fall time, she probably only has like a half an inch of grow out, not much at all. So we're going to do like a root shadow to keep her like toned down for fall, and then tone her blonde so that she brightens up a little bit more, or cools down a little bit, I guess, because it's so warm and brassy now. I'm thinking, so I don't know if you guys use Agora Vibrance, but they have a new color that came out. It's like like an ash beige color, and it's really pretty. So I think I'm gonna do like 724 with maybe like a 612, like more coolness. And I'm gonna use this for her roots, and then I will use the activating gel, 6 volume, and we're just gonna apply this on her roots. We're not gonna use any bleach today, and be a fast service.
And I am using equal parts for this combination. Okay, so here I'm starting to section my client out, and when I posted this on Instagram, somebody had commented on there. Okay, first, before I get ahead of myself, I'm sectioning aside her hairline because I want to try and preserve that and make sure I tap that last, because the hairline is where it's most porous and really absorbs the color. So I want to be sure that I pull that aside so that we preserve as much lightness around the face as possible. So I'm just going to hit that probably at the very end of my application, or like the last 10 minutes that she's processing. So back to what I was originally going to talk about. Somebody on my Instagram post, when I just posted this, commented on there and said that she was going to try this service on one of her clients, and that she thought she was going to go about the service using baby lights, and she didn't know that she could just use a toner and cool her hair down. And the reason why you can just go on with a toner, first you need to make sure that the hair is light enough. If you want to go back, you can see a little bit where her hair, when I was sectioning, she's very warm, but she's a very warm level 9. So if you just put a toner on her hair, you're going to be able to cool her down enough. So I would say you cannot tone, if you want to have an actually true ashy color, you cannot tone a level 9 with a level 9 ash. All you're going to do is neutralize the warmth. But to actually have a pretty ashy tone, you have to do like a step down and deposit just slightly darker than the level that she's at in order to actually grab ASHY. So if you have like a level 10 and she wants like an ashy blonde, if you just tone with a level 10 ash or pearl ash or violet, you're really just gonna neutralize any warmth in her hair and make it like a nice and bright blonde. But if you add a little bit of a level 9 to that toner, then you'll add a little bit of that depth to the color and you'll deposit more of an ashier tone. And so that's how you can get your ashy color with just doing a toner instead of having to lift. So here you can see a little bit better that she's very, obviously very brassy, but adding that level 8 to the formulation is going to really help cool it down. So I know that I'm like, you guys know I ramble, but make sure when you go to the other side that you put a foil on top of the hair, because you don't want to transfer the toner from the other side onto the ends. Then you're going to get like splotchiness on the hair. So that's why I put the foil on top of the head and then clip it and rest the hair flipped over onto that side. I prefer working from the bottom up when I'm doing a root shadow, because usually right where I put the color, because I'm kind of feathering down, if I move the hair around or if I'm like pinning it up, if I'm starting from the top and I'm working my way down, then I'm disrupting the color that I just laid down. So I prefer to work from the bottom up. That way I know that I'm not moving the color around, I'm not disrupting it, it's exactly where I want it to be, and I'm not going to put any, like, flip the hair and put any hair on top of it or whatever. So that's why I prefer to work from the bottom up and then just pin the hair up on a foil on the other side. And you can see find where the hair is really warm and just swipe down in those areas. We're just really trying to blend her roots right now, so I'm not trying to go too far onto the blonde, especially around her face. It's just kind of like towards the back area. I want it to have a little bit more of a rooty look. That way it looks more natural and blends a little bit better. If there's anything that I hate, it's seeing a root shadow or a root tap as if somebody did like a root retouch color and they just really do an inch like solid in every section versus feathering it down and swiping it a little bit. So if you want to do like, I'm putting like the inch down, but then you can see I'm going back in and I'm just feathering down. And towards the back section of that parting, I'm feathering down a little bit further towards the back. And then I'm swiping up just a little less and a little less as I reach the front of her face. And that's going to help it be a little bit more natural and subtle and still preserve a lot of that brightness towards the front of the face. So you can see on the opposite side where that foil was how like it's processing, and she's going to have that nice dimension where I swiped it down further towards the ends. Now that we're going towards the front of the face, I am just tapping it very lightly. I'm not swiping it down towards the hair through the ends on her hairline, just because this is where the hair is so porous. So I want to make sure it doesn't grab too dark or too ashy. So just tap the roots and just barely, very fine with the end of the brush. Just very, very lightly drag through just right after the line of demarcation, and that's going to help soften that root right there, but still keep it nice and bright on the face versus having a harsh line of a root shadow. We still want to soften it up just a little bit. So now that I can see where her root shadow is darkening up and how it's processing, I'm going to go back through and check my work and make sure that I'm dragging it down far enough where I want it to. If I feel like, the other side, now that it's processing and I can see how dark it is, I want to make sure I'm going back through and evening it up and having balance on the other side. So go back through and always make sure, if you notice that there's some warmth in the hair that you maybe need to drag the color down. Like what I'm doing right here is I'm going through the back of her hair. I don't want to touch the sides because I know that's fine, but I'm just going to go through the back, and anywhere that the hair is a little bit warm still, I'm just going to drag the toner through the ends in there because we really want to cool it down and try to cancel out any warmth as possible. So after I have this on, I'm going to let this process for about 30 minutes just because I really want it to penetrate the hair and really sit in there. I don't want this to fade out, so I figure the longer it sits in there, the better. It will really just absorb into her hair. So she's gonna sit for 30 minutes, and then we will wash her out after this. Never be overly confident in your work that you just know for certain that it looks perfect. I'm going through right now that it's depositing, and you can see that it's like kind of a harsh line with a few pieces that drop down. I'm just going back through and going through where it looks more of a harsher line and just barely feathering through there so that it softens it up just a little bit.
Okay, so now that she's processed for probably like 30 minutes or so, we're gonna go through and tone through her ends. And I'm gonna use 811 and I think 951 from the Agora Vibrance. That way it really cools her hair down through her ends again. Her ends just get really brassy, so we just want to make sure that they're cooled down and not so like yellow and orange. So that's what we're gonna mix right now, half and half.
I know this looks super scary how ashy it looks, but don't worry. I know it's kind of scary, but it's actually gonna wash out nice and bright. So this is a smoothing serum by Matrix. I actually really like the Paul Mitchell Super Skinny Serum. I just ran out and this is what they had, but I like this one too. It's just a little bit more thick, where the Paul Mitchell Super Skinny Serum is very thin and light. So regardless, I always use a serum to help protect the hair. This is a mousse just to get a little bit of volume. I noticed that if you have a client who has hair that's harder to curl or doesn't hold the curl as well, use a mousse, and that definitely helps the curl hold a little bit better. I had a client once where her hair, the curl would just fall out, but I used a mousse one time and I was like, holy cow, like it actually held this time. And this from our brush is amazing for combing out. If you have a lot of tangles, this definitely helps comb through the hair without, pulling or anything. When I blow dry my client's hair, I always start like at the front of the face, and I always try to get the roots first. One thing that I will never do, I'm not like a blow dry queen or anything like that, and I accept that about myself, but I don't understand when people like the hair is still wet and they'll do a section like at the nape of the neck and pin everything else up and then start blow drying. Like you're just putting all that wet hair back down on top of the section you just dried. So I always go back through and like dry the roots first, and then I'll go through and like finish the ends. So anyways, I know that was long and drawn out like usual, but I really like the Big Sexy hairspray from I think Matrix, I think still. So that stuff holds really well. I don't know if you've used it or not, but like my hair does not hold curl at all. And so that's one that I can use where I know it's going to hold the curl really, really great. So I just use that for all of my clients so that I don't have to worry about it. And some people ask how I style my clients, so I just thought I'd put it in the video. So I go through and like smooth the hair at the roots, and then just curl the hair around like once or twice and let the ends kind of fall out, and then either pull the flat iron straight through the ends or just smooth them out after you let the hair fall. And whether or not you like to use a flat iron or a curling iron, you can still create the same look as, this loose body wave. just make sure you're curling all the hair towards the back center of the head away from the face, and then just drop the ends out and straighten them with the curling iron, or curl the mid section and then straighten the ends afterwards if you want to. But that's how I curl all of my clients' hair, and they all really like it. It's just kind of like a cute, messy beach wave. I don't like the frizziness or anything, so that's why I always comb my clients' hair out after I'm done styling them, because I like to see the curl just kind of like flow together versus, you know, just fingering the curls out, and then I feel like it just kind of gets frizzy or messy. Like, I really like the smooth look of combing the curls together. And then you can, you know, also like pull through the curls to kind of define them a little bit more. But this is how I always curl all of my clients. I have done a few videos on start to finish how I curl my clients, and I will link those in the description below if that's something that you're interested in. I think I have one where I've curled my own hair and I describe a little bit better, but some of those videos are from like a long time ago, so you might not see them. So I will leave those in the description. But you can see that we're just doing a really soft curl, not like making it a ringlet where it's super curly through the ends. We're just wanting to smooth the hair, give it a little bit of a bend, and straighten through the ends. So yeah, this is how I style all of my clients' hair. Oh, another thing, be really sure when you're styling your client's hair, or if you're at home watching this and you're not a stylist, make sure that you're not having a temperature above like 330, 340. I had a video where I styled, or I used heat on an extension that was super icy and blonde, and the temperature was like anything above 350 really discolored the hair. So I really recommend using the temperature like no higher than 330, 340. Here's my client's hair again. You can see how brassy it is, super kind of orangey tones. And here is her after. You can see how just swiping through the root a little bit just kind of gives that dimension. It's not like a harsh line or anything. It just helps blend the roots nicely, and it looks a little bit more natural and flows better into the blonde. And her hair toned really nicely. It's actually a little bit brighter and ashier than this, but just the lighting, I hate this time of year because of it. It doesn't show the true color, but at least you can see how much it cooled down. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is a picture that I posted on my Instagram. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.